Welcome everybody, welcome back to Homestead Heart and welcome to my office. I'm in my office today. I'm in my office. Nina and her boy over here and my friend Buck is over here with me. He wanted to come over here with me, so I let him come over here with me. But I'm going to tell y'all something that's been playing over and over again in my head. You know, the more we look at prices and the way things are skyrocketing, and I'm sure that at least I'm going to just guess and hope that the majority of us are noticing the way prices are continuing to skyrocket, right? And it's not just on one thing, right? It's not just on chicken or produce, you know. It's on your dog food. It's on your animal feed, livestock feed, right? It's on baby food. It's on everything, right? I started thinking about what the average person makes a day. If you are a full-time worker, and you just might be the average person, you know, if you're a full-time worker, you're the average person, you might be making somewhere between $70, $80 a day, right? Hopefully, right? That's somewhere around 10 bucks an hour. So you might be making like $10 an hour, averaging $80 a day, which is sad, right? We can send all this money other places, but we got to pay people 10 bucks an hour. That's a whole nother topic. But you all, what plays over and over again in my head, a measure of wheat for a day's wages. A measure of wheat for a day's wages. You know what? Some of you can't even imagine that. Even with prices being what they are now. Some of you can't even imagine having to pay a day's wage for a measure of anything. Now, what is a measure? What is that? What does that equate to? Let's just say that's about a quart of something. A quart. A canning jar. A quart-sized canning jar of whatever. So if you had to get a measure of wheat, a jar of chicken, a jar of soup, a quart-sized jar of soup, a quart-sized jar of bean soup, a quart-sized jar of green beans and potatoes, a quart-sized jar of ground chicken or ground turkey, and you were told this is going to cost you a day's wage. Now, Mrs. H, I can't wrap my mind around that. I can't see paying $80 for one quart-sized jar of nothing. That is out of the question. I can't even fathom that. I'm sorry. I can't even get that going in my brain. Why not? You remember when gas was 89 cents a gallon? Some of you remember when it was less than that. 99 cents a gallon. Though folks like us from back then who was paying 50 cents a gallon. Do you want to go outside now? They can't imagine. They couldn't probably in that day, if you would have told them gas is going to be $3.79 a gallon. From 50 cents? From 59 cents a gallon, you telling me it's going to be $3.79 a gallon? And just what if those prices would have escalated during that time, the way prices on everything is escalating now? Like overnight you wake up and something is 29 cents more expensive, 50 cents more. And then the markets play games with us and our dollars, right? Have you noticed that? I was having a conversation with my friend, and we was talking about how a certain deodorant that is, aluminum free, I mean, just a good all-around natural deodorant, went from being, I think she said, $6.99 to $9.99, just all of a sudden. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna have to make my own. I can't pay $10 for this. And then over time, it went back down to $6.99. And then when she and others started buying it again, now it's $9.99 again. Have you noticed how the markets are playing with your mind and with your pocketbook? Have you noticed that? Because I sure have. I sure have. See, I'm getting to the point now where I keep receipts. And I'm noticing how maybe a year ago I probably would have paid $4.99 for something. And then later on it was like $7.99. And now it's $6.99. And I'm not talking about stuff on sale. I'm just talking about when you go into the store and buy something that you would normally buy. If you buy something enough, you know exactly what it's going to cost, taxes and all, right? If you are very, I don't know, like me, I'm going to more than likely stick to what I get, because I know what it's going to do. I know if I like it, I know if everybody like it. I know about the product because maybe I've used it for a long time. So you tend to pay attention to prices, like remember when rubbing alcohol was 79 cents and now you paying what, $1.99 just since 2020. Yeah. Remember when the little bottle of peroxide didn't come close to being $1. But now you're paying $2 for that peroxide. Depending on where you go, it could be a little more, it could be just a little less, not much. But do you see how they playing with your money and playing with your mind? See, they trying to get you ready for something. They priming you. They prime everybody. We're going to take it up. We're going to take it down. We're going to take it back up again. We're getting them ready. Oh, man, I better go on and buy as much of this as I can because I know they're going to take it up again. See, they playing with our emotions. They are. So if I told you that at some point you were only going to get a measure of grain for a day's wages, what would you be thinking about right now if you knew for a fact this was coming down the pipe? If you knew for sure, what would your plan of action, what would your POA be? I'm going to tell you, in my thinking on all of this, just in my little old humble opinion, I always go back to the same thing, y'all. I come right back to this. Grow your groceries. Because you know what? If you're going to charge me a day's wages for a quart-sized jar of corn, well, I could plant a seed for pennies on the dollar and get a measure of corn. Yes, I can. I could plant a few seeds for pennies on the dollar and get a measure of beans, a measure of tomatoes. See, if I do this myself, and if I barter with those who may be growing the things that I can't grow, Because there may be people who are growing corn for livestock. There may be those who may be growing wheat and oats and all of that I might not be growing. Community. The power of community. The power of community, y'all. If we come together, like our great-grandparents used to do, our parents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, remember how they would grow something on their farm, and then the neighbor way down on the other farm would be growing something, and they would come in their old trucks or with their old mule and buggy, and they would come together and they would trade items, right? Well, I grew some corn and you grew some wheat, so I'm going to give you a corn and you're going to give me wheat, and this is how we work this out together, right? Community. Yeah. Community, the power of community. Because if you think about it, that's what they're forcing us to do. They're forcing us to come back to what we once knew. And that's where we helped and worked with one another. We sure did. We sure did. Yeah. Ooh, I'm telling you, those are the times that back then we were closer than we are today. Today we're all spread out and divided, and we don't have that that feeling anymore of togetherness anymore. We don't have that feeling anymore. So many things were done by design, but that's neither here nor there. We got to now start thinking along the lines of, well, if Homestead Heart is growing this, I know they struggle with growing squash because of squash bugs. Well, we don't have that problem on our farm. So we'll trade this with Homestead Heart, and we'll give them this and they'll give us this. We'll trade. We'll come together. Because I do better growing this than I do growing that, and vice versa. See, that's what we really got to get back to. Yeah, we got to get back to growing our groceries. Yes. That way we can help each other. Okay? Yeah, because a measure of wheat for a day's wages, that's ridiculous. But that's where we're heading. So, y'all, I'm going to get back to it. I just wanted to talk to y'all real quick about that because that's been going over and over again in my mind, just replaying over and over again in my mind, a measure of wheat for a day's wages. It's going to cost me $80? Or it's going to cost me $70 or $100 to get a measure that might not even feed my family for a day or two? That's a hard pill to swallow. But is that where we're headed? Post your comments below. I'd love to know what you think. All right, y'all. I'm going to get back to it. It's hot out here too. I'm going to get back to it. I just wanted to talk to y'all. See what y'all thought. A measure of wheat for a day's wages. That's hard. But that's where we're going. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for watching Homestead Heart. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. I'm going to see you in the next video.